So, like I was saying, Street Fighter 6, is it the best modern Street Fighter to date? I know a lot of people like it's too soon to make that call, but is it? I don't think so. We got enough to look at to make a call on whether people will look at this Street Fighter as the best Street Fighter, y'all. We don't have to sit here and play like we need to wait 5 years to make that call. We need to wait 5 years to make a definitive, this is the final answer call, but we can, take a shot at it right now. I'm gonna tell you right now, of the modern Street Fighters from 2000 up until now, I say a modern Street Fighter is Street Fighter 4 and all the variations of it, just Street Fighter 4 as a collective, Street Fighter 5, and here we are, Street Fighter 6. All right, we already got one thing that we know definitively is the launch. What people thought of the game at launch. Dead last is Street Fighter 5, y'all. Street Fighter 5 is dead last and won't nobody even, that's a non-negotiable. Now, Street Fighter 5 and Street Fighter 6 is kind of complicated because Street Fighter 6 hit the ground hard, pause, but so did Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4 was loved. I mean, it was loved so much. Now, I actually want to give the release to Street Fighter 4. And I want to give the release to Street Fighter 4 off the simple fact that, when it created basically the impact it had on the culture. Street Fighter 4 created this is not a true statement, but it basically was the catalyst of the fighting game community, the modern fighting game community. And it had what was happening in YouTube and social media pumping it. You know what I mean? Like at the same time Street Fighter 4 was coming out, so was YouTube was gaining its ground, and Twitter, Facebook, and SureYouCan.com, and all these things were happening at once. It just spurred. It basically is the catalyst of what we know as the fighting game community now. And modernized it. If y'all don't give me credit for that, I know y'all gonna be like, that ain't true. All right, but Street Fighter 6, here's the one thing I'll say about it. The reason why I have to give it to 4. Street Fighter 6 is heavily pumped with money, y'all. If I have to be fair, Street Fighter 6 released and was a perfect game. This was actually the perfect release. It has a world tour in it. It has the perfect, in my opinion, it took me forever to figure it out, but it has the perfect training mode. You literally have a breakdown of how to play your character. That's amazing. I've never seen that in any video game. A character guide on how to play each character. It's it's next level. And then the combo trials. Everything is perfect. Then a battle hub. The only thing I hate with the battle hub is you can't just hit spectate and it just spectate everybody that come through. I would love for Capcom to fix that. But literally the game is without flaws. Not in the gameplay. I'm just talking about literally the release date. Minor things are minor things. I'm gonna call some a minor thing. You might call it major. If you play this game on PlayStation 5, every match not every match, but every session you play this game, you're going to get a connection fail screen that's going to stop your gameplay. You have to hit confirm and it'll keep letting you play. If y'all watch my streams, y'all see it all the time. And I'm sitting here hosting a tournament and will lose control of my character. That's a minor thing because it's cross-play, it's cross-platform. So I really don't have a problem with that. I'm not gonna hold that against Street Fighter 6. Street Fighter 4, it was just straight the console your own. So it didn't have that kind of a problem to deal with. But Street Fighter 4, it had the music, y'all. You got it had trials. I love its rank. To me, Street Fighter 4 still had the original Street Fighter 4, people call it vanilla Street Fighter 4, still had the best ranking system of any game. I think it goes G3, G2, G1. And you have to go through the levels let's say G3D, and you move up to C, B, A. If I'm not mistaken, that's how it went. That was amazing. You literally kept getting knocked down to the level you belong. I stayed G2. I didn't know any combos, but I stayed G2, but I played Bison, and Bison was super broken in that game. and the ranking system kept you amongst players that you play with. I mean, amongst your players of your skill level. This Street Fighter 6, you got the way their ranking system works. I'm gonna tell you what I think about it. The way their ranking system works, if you just grind rank, you will become a master rank. And I might talk about that later. We may get into what Capcom could do with the ranking system. But essentially, off launch, before I go too off the deep end and like minor stuff, I'm going to give the launch to Street Fighter 4. And Street Fighter 6 had a wonderful launch, but it's just second place. It's just, you know, you have to normalize that the times are modern, they have other things, but I still think Street Fighter 4 had a better launch. But like I said, I'm only giving it to because basically Street Fighter 6 was pumped with money. So when people were told of $1 million prize for playing Street Fighter 6 for winning like a tournament, then of course everybody ran to Street Fighter 6. But excitement wise, it's so close, y'all. It's so close. Street Fighter 4, oh man, it's so close. Thanks, let's just call it a tie. Let's just call it a tie. So Street Fighter 5 came in last, Street Fighter 6 and 4. Let's just call it a tie. All right. Let's talk about graphics. Again, Street Fighter 5 comes in dead last. And graphics wise, of course, Street Fighter 6 comes in first place. Street Fighter 4 comes in second place. But a lot of the things that made Street Fighter 4 unique, Street Fighter 6 kept them. So the way the focus attack looked, all Street Fighter 6 did was take that and just splash more colors into it. So it's not, you know what I mean? Like, it's more of a, let's take a look at what's working and add to it. The graphics look, I mean, they look amazing in Street Fighter 6. The background looks amazing. And Street Fighter 5 could have looked like that. You could see that they tried it in Street Fighter 5, but they wanted that cartoony look, and it just held down what they were going to try. Now I get it. It's PlayStation 5. You know, it's so modern that it's going to win in graphics, but let's just be honest. If we do the graphics go, Street Fighter 6 is the best, Street Fighter 4 is the second best, and Street Fighter 5 is last. So I'm not in the order of the time it came out. Street Fighter 5 was dead last in graphics. Now, let's talk about roster. Street Fighter 4 wins the roster. You can never go wrong with giving us the original 8 up front. Street Fighter 6. So basically, Street Fighter 5 comes last again, y'all. We didn't like the roster. That was one of the main problems with Street Fighter 5. We did not like the original roster. Street Fighter 4 had the original, Gal, Cammy, Chun-Li, M. Bison, Sagat, Balrog, Vega. I mean, it just literally had the original cast, and then they went to adding, you know, the super characters and you know, adding Dudley and Elena and the twins. But that cast is hands down the best cast. Street Fighter 6 comes in second. Street Fighter 6, I love their new characters. I love Manon, I love Marissa. I think Jamie's a great idea. He needs tweaking to just be completely loved like I love Manon. Like, even though Manon has flaws, I still love her flawlessly. And Jamie, I'm still like, I like him, but I'm on the fence with him. But the new characters are definitely fit Street Fighter 6. And of course, we talked about Street Fighter 5. I don't know why Alex's legs were backwards, y'all. That is so weird to me. Alex, I don't know if people wanted Nash. I think they would have rather Gal up front and then get Nash as a DLC. You had to wait for Balrog. Oh, it's just terrible. It's just terrible. Yeah, that release was terrible. I mean, I'm just saying the roster. And I mean, the characters they added, Colin, and well, we're only talking about the release characters. So I think everybody would agree the release characters in Street Fighter. Here's the problem. Street Fighter does this to themselves because you don't get this complaint out of Mortal Kombat. And I don't know about Tekken. So y'all have to let me know in the comment section whether Tekken is the same, but Mortal Kombat characters drop as they fit the storyline. So that's your original cast. Whoever fit the storyline is your original cast. Street Fighter doesn't work that way. Street Fighter just works it whoever fits the game mechanics is your original cast. Or better yet, they try to do who they want to add. You know, it may not be necessarily who fits the, you know, I think they try to hold off characters like Sagat to get the momentum back pumping in the game. So you get some excitement by saying we're gonna release E Honda, or we're gonna release Sagat, or you know, M Bison. Now, I think with the original cast, the reason I say you have to drop the original 8 is because people have their favorite characters that have just come ever since 1993. So you really cannot leave them off on a release date. You have to pump them originally. And then from there, you can experiment with characters. You can't just throw Seth in as your original character and then pass up M Bison. People will hate it. I mean, they'll buy the game. It's Street Fighter. They're going to buy the game. But they're going to beg for their character. So as far as the release date, characters released, you have to give that to Street Fighter 4. Alright, now, when we talk about the actual gameplay, now this is what we talk about, the longevity of a game. The gameplay, boy, this is tough. The way Street Fighter 5 ended, I thought that was brilliant. I thought they did good. I thought they added things that made that game fun. They finally started making the combos work to where you could create combos. Like when Street Fighter 5 released, it was terrible, y'all. It was just terrible on so many levels, but basically it was so bland. You know, I remember Daigo fighting in the tournament, and I remember seeing Daigo's max damage combos, and my friend literally sitting next to me was doing those same combos. And it's because they wanted the game to be played a certain way. And I remember when Infiltration played the final round, that was like 2016. If I'm not mistaken, he won it. But when he won it, they patched Nash, and they said that is not how we want this character played. Street Fighter 4 had some soul to it. It had some originality to it. The way you could, if you just learn the frame data, and back then to learn frame data, we had to go to GameStop and buy this book, and it showed all the hitboxes and all the frame data, because you didn't see the frame data in the game. That came with Street Fighter 5. But you could see the frame data on the books and the hitboxes, and you could make your own combos. Alright? That right there is why when you would get into a tournament, or you would watch a tournament, you would see Daigo doing things that you never saw playing online. That, I mean, literally the gameplay, I guess is what made it so good, is we had to sit there and think by ourselves. For a good chunk of that game, I'd say around about 2012, it was a lot of originality before basically social media kind of normalized everybody across the board, and then everybody was doing all the same thing. Which I can't fault you for doing it now, because we went through about 10 years of everybody doing the same thing. So here we are in tournaments, and I'm doing the same combos as Daigo because Daigo showed it to us, and all we got to do is practice it. But Street Fighter 6, the drive system is so unique, y'all. I love the drive system. Here's my only thing, and this is the reason why I got pushed back in my last few videos. The drive system, for as fun as it is, you have to pay a price for it. The drive system kills the neutral game. Alright? The way it's constructed now, the drive system kills the neutral and the matchups. So when you talk about the fun factor to the drive system, it will put Street Fighter as number one. When you talk about the gameplay and fun factor, it will put Street Fighter 6 number one. But when we talk about longevity, it will put Street Fighter 4 above it on longevity. So that's kind of complicated on gameplay. I'm kind of tired. I'm gonna have to give another tie to Street Fighter 6 and Street Fighter 4. Street Fighter 4, I mean, it's still matchups to this day that, you know, if people are still playing that game, they're still learning. And that's just the honest truth. You're still learning how to fight let's say C Viper. C Viper was so complicated on learning the cross ups of her burn kicks. Like, she would hit you on one side and then do a burn kick on the other side of you. People, I mean, I get it. You're like, it's been, that game came out in 2009. It's been 14 years. So people are already like, you could say they learned it at this point. But no, that took a long time to learn Gin. That took a long time to learn, oh my God, Seth, Gin, the twins. And as people got good and you realize you didn't know how to fight against them, all you knew was the basics of what the basic players could do. It took a long time to learn the game. That's the longevity of it. And Street Fighter V, I mean, from a viewer standpoint, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, it really turned into a shimmy fest. Basically, it was either take the throw or get counter hit. And I think the way crush counter worked and the way they had it to where, y'all correct me if I'm wrong, but I remember thinking this was a problem with the game when it released. I don't think you trade on that game. The button with the higher priority just wins. So because you don't trade, the footsies kind of dominated that game. So you ended up with crush counter, making people use footsies, and then shimmies. So it's a throw, shimmy, crush counter game. And at least when I watch Item or I watch Pump win a tournament, they just dominated with footsies. You know, just a straight ground game, just walk over and dominate. And it's fun to watch. It is literally fun to watch. Like Street Fighter V on a high level is fun to watch. I love it. But when it released, ooh, boy, it was tough. It was tough. It was tough to watch that game on release. So it took years to kind of get that game together, but it ended up in a good spot. And honestly, it's so weird that game is dead because, yes, that is a good game. It reminds me of, if y'all ever played Call of Duty World War I, it's a sledgehammer game. Hey, that game had to get patched into being a good game. If you ever played that game, or maybe Vanguard turned out to be a good game, but Vanguard was basically World War I after it had been fixed. But anyway, I'd have to give the mechanics or the gameplay, I will have to give that a tie. I'm sorry. The way the longevity worked for Street Fighter 4 is better than what I believe the longevity to be for Street Fighter 6. Now, that's my call on that. I know people don't agree on that, but I just really feel like people will play Street Fighter 4. The core base will play it longer than the core base will play Street Fighter 6. And I do believe when Street Fighter 7 comes out, which will be so far from now, Street Fighter 6 will be dead at that point. And Street Fighter 4 was not dead when Street Fighter 5 came out, Street Fighter 4 was not dead. Street Fighter 5, the money they pumped into Street Fighter 5 killed Street Fighter 4 because people ran after the money. The pro players ran after the money and the casual players stayed behind. But the scene would have been split in half if there was no money. If the money would have stayed in both games, the scene would have been split in half, and it likely would have fell back to Street Fighter 4 if it wasn't about the money being pumped into the game. Alright, so y'all let me know what y'all think. If I had to say which Street Fighter is best, now I'm having to cheat. Now I'm having to use my option select to get out of this. As it stands right now, Street Fighter 4 is still the top dog in the modern Street Fighters. Street Fighter 6 could definitely take the crown. It can. It literally can. We just have to see how it goes. And Street Fighter 4, it had too many stumbling blocks to go through. It's still a good game, but at the same time, it had so many years in a low place that here we are at the end, and you just can't look past the past and give it the rating that it deserves as it ended. Because it ended a good game. It ended a good game, and I had so much fun playing Street Fighter 5, waiting for Street Fighter 6 to come out this year. Because I played it for about 2 months after not playing it for years. And I was like, wow, I can't believe I had this game sitting here and this game was this fun. But what do y'all think? I know y'all gonna sit here and say it's too early. Y'all don't get in the comment section and say that. Don't option select me. Give me your thoughts on it, project into the future what you think. what I think in the future is, I think Street Fighter 4 will be the better game. Street Fighter 6 could, you know, I don't know the future, but it could end up being better than Street Fighter 6. I mean 4. Street Fighter 6 could end up being better than Street Fighter 4. But as it stands now, I'm going to say Street Fighter 4 will be the better game because of how long it'll last, how long people will play the game, how long people generally love the game and learn. And literally, I'm going to tell y'all right now, when I cut my game on, my friends list is, I mean, literally nobody's on Street Fighter 6. That was never the case on Street Fighter 4. That was never the case. My Street Fighter 4 list, I stayed getting invites, just spamming me with invites from the people I ran into. And this list is added on to the people that I met in the past and this new people that I met along the way, and it's still empty. So that's why I said, like, I tried to tell y'all about the longevity and y'all gave me pushback. Look at your friends list. You cannot deny what you're looking at. People aren't really on this game like that. But it's still a good game. That's what I keep saying.